Clara.
Oh, hey Alicia, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. So you're still working on IceCube, right?
Yeah, it's going well.
Yeah? What kind of research are you doing at the moment?
So right now I'm doing a follow-up of fast radio bursts using chime data. But previously I just finished up an analysis on the KM3NeT ultra-high energy neutrino and have done another follow-up on supernova 2023 IXL.
Yeah, I heard about the KM3NeT result. It was the highest energy neutrino ever reported?
Yeah, so 220 PeV, which is incredibly high energy.
That's higher than the LHC accelerates protons.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's part of the reason why we followed it up, because of just how unique this event is and how interesting that high of energy is.
So are you also looking for similar things in IceCube?
Yeah, so the ultra-high energy neutrino reported by KM3NeT, that was 220 PeV, which is really high energy. And IceCube, which has been in operation for much longer and has a much larger effective area, we conducted a follow-up of this neutrino since KM3NeT hasn't been in operation for as long.
Okay, can you remind me how the IceCube experiment works?
Yeah, of course. Actually, can I take you down to the ice to show you something?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. So can you tell me about the IceCube experiment? What is it made of? How big is it? Where is it located?
So IceCube is a cubic-kilometer neutrino observatory that's located within the ice at the geographic South Pole in Antarctica.
And how deep does it go into the ice?
So it's about 1.5 to 2 kilometers underneath the ice itself, so it's pretty deep.
Interesting. And how are you measuring neutrinos with this detector?
So when neutrinos interact with the ice in Antarctica, they produce secondary particles that are charged, and those charged particles travel through the ice and produce light known as Cherenkov radiation, and it's the Cherenkov radiation that we're detecting with the optical modules embedded in the ice.
Nice. So could you use ice like this to detect neutrinos?
Not quite. So this ice is too cloudy. It has a lot of air bubbles in it. And part of the reason why we use the ice in Antarctica itself is that it's very pure and lacks air bubbles. So ice like this or the ice in your fridge wouldn't be suitable for neutrino detection.
Okay, so it's great for hockey, not so good for neutrino detection.
Yeah.
Great. So what was the final result that you were able to present at the conference?
Yeah, let me show you my slides from yesterday.
Yeah, please do.
So this is sort of like the final plot that we produced at the end, and these are the upper limits that we set on this specific analysis. So this pink band here is KM3NeT's flux for the ultra high energy neutrino, and then these points here are our upper limit. So all of our points lie below this dark pink band here.
Yeah.
And an upper limit is a way of quantifying the brightest that a source could have emitted in neutrinos without producing a signal that IceCube would have been sensitive to.
What does the future look like for your experiment? Did you just do an upgrade for IceCube?
Yeah, so this Antarctic summer, we installed 6 new strings in the ice in the infill array that is known as Deep Core, and these 6 new strings themselves we call the IceCube upgrade because we're upgrading the detector. So we're increasing our sensitivity to even lower energy neutrinos on the order of like a GeV.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for explaining it to me.
Yeah, not a problem.
Should we go grab something to eat?
Yeah, we should.
Brilliant.